How's it going, guys? So before we get into today's video, I want to share something that's been pretty heavy on my mind for the past week. So as of now, it is August 17th, 2023, and about a week ago there were multiple wildfires on Maui, and it's just been terrible to see the destruction going on and just people's stories coming out of Lahaina. Lahaina was the worst fire that happened on the island, and it's just been heartbreaking to see what's been going on there. And being that I'm from Hawaii, it hits close to home, and I just really feel for these people who've been affected by this. So I'm gonna leave just some links and resources in the description down below in case anyone wants to make donations or contribute in any way, and let's try to come together and help out our friends and family in Lahaina. So for today's video, it's taken me a long time to make this video. I've originally wanted to put it out maybe like half a year ago, and it just never happened. This video is going to cover the fall semester of your first year at UNLV, and it's a lot to go through, right? This is the consensus hardest semester of the entire PT program. If you ask G2s or G3s or even faculty, they will probably tell you that this semester is the roughest one out of all of them, and I can definitely confirm that it's pretty bad. During the semester, you'll probably have a few breakdowns. But let's go into what you can expect and look at each class that you have to take during the semester. Alright, so we're going to take a look at our curriculum plan here. There are a lot of classes to go over for this semester, so let's really make sure that we're hitting on each class. Keep in mind that the curriculum does change slightly here and there, but for the most part it might just be like one class that's kind of switched around within the plan. Okay, so right here, this is the semester we're currently talking about. Fall semester of your G1 year, and yes, 20 credits, and it will feel insane as you're going through them, but the silver lining is that is the heaviest credit load of the entire semester. The next highest ones will be like 17, 15. So I feel like if you can get through this semester relatively unscathed, then you'll probably be able to get through the rest of PT school. Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit about each of these classes, what you can expect, and my tips and how to best prepare for them. So as you can see, a lot of classes to go through. I won't spend a whole lot of time on each class, but I want to give you at least one or two things to take home for each course. So the first ones on the list are DPT 730 and 730 Lab. This is what we call foundations, and you'll learn kind of like all your base orthopedic skills that you'll need in the clinic, and further down the line you'll learn them here in this class, and it'll feel like you're being just drowned in information at times, right? It's a lot of things related to like patient management, taking subjective histories, taking range of motion, MMT measurements, making a plan of care, and just how we can best care for our patients, right? Along with learning physical and hands-on skills, practicing with your partners, practicing with classmates. This class takes up a lot of time. You'll have to set aside at least literally at least a few hours per week, and probably more, kind of depending on your study style. But you have to study for the lecture and the lab at the same time. The lab is going to be your actual physical, like hands-on skills, and the lecture is more of the just a lecture material in relation to like patient management stuff and kind of like injuries, right? This class can be a little nerve-wracking because there are practical exams. I think you have 3 of them during the semester, so those can be pretty high pressure situations, but as long as you make an effort to practice as much as you can, it can at least help in those situations, help you feel a little more calm, a little more confident. Our next class is DPT 741, and this is your first MSK class, and I don't know how many MSK classes there are actually, but this is your first one, and it's a pretty fun one, especially if you're into like physics or biomechanics. You apply a lot of those principles here, and you also learn about arthrokinematics, which is something that you'll definitely learn further down the line, or you'll definitely use further down the line, and you'll definitely use it in the clinic also. DPT 742 is, so let me just say that this class smacked me when it shouldn't have. Every semester there's a class that I underestimate, or I think I won't need to study super hard for, and then it just proves me wrong. So that was the case for this class during that semester. I thought I wouldn't have to study too much for it, and then pretty much from the midterm onto the final, I was scrambling to get my grade up.
Please! Please! No!
It covers a lot of material in relation to like diseases and illnesses, right? So this is actually your Pathophys class. You'll have to know how to differentiate different diagnoses even when they're like presenting really similarly, and just main implications for physical therapists if you're working with someone who has a certain illness. Okay, the next class here is DPT 746. This class kind of sucks, not gonna lie. I would say this class and foundations are the ones to worry about. Foundations takes up a lot of time, but I would say the material isn't as hard. And for DPT 746, this is neuroanatomy, so it is, I would say for this, the material is really hard, and you might not have to spend as much time on it as like foundations, but you'll still have to dedicate a lot of study time to it. And for this class, it was a little deceiving because I think in the first month or two, it was actually kind of easy. You're kind of just going over like regions of the brain, and just like really straightforward anatomy things. But I remember towards the end of the semester, it just got like cranked up a couple notches, and man, it was just tough. It's tough when you start incorporating like cerebellum and ascending and descending tracts. Once you get into tracts, that's normally where like shit hits the fan, and like I was just so lost. I was so lost maybe during the last couple weeks of the semester, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. But yeah, this is a class that definitely have to focus on, and yeah, don't get complacent with it, because the first half will be pretty easy and the second half will definitely get a lot harder. So keep that in mind. There's also a lab for this class, but the lab isn't very hard. I think you're kind of just dissecting a brain, and just like with any other lab, you'll have to be able to like identify different areas of the brain based on like kind of what you see physically. So the lab itself isn't too hard. You still have to study for it, but the lecture will definitely take the precedent here. The next class is DPT 774. This is our psychosocial class, and this is where you learn about just different topics related to, you know, how to best care for a patient, how to help them feel comfortable, how to be culturally competent, and how to just be aware of a bunch of different topics that could, you know, affect how you interact with a patient. It's gonna have a new instructor this year, so I'm not too sure how it's gonna be structured. Last year it was pretty chill, like we didn't do too much in it, but we'll see how it is this year. Hopefully that's still the case, because since there's a lot of classes, I think the faculty tries to make one class not as intense, so hopefully that's still the case for any upcoming people in the PT program. The last class we're going to talk about is DPT 790. This is just your research class. So this is where you'll learn what research group you're going to be in for the rest of the PT program. And it might not even be research, right? You might even have a service learning project, right? So you could do service learning or research. It's kind of up to you and where you get placed. And it can be a kind of boring class because you're just reading academic writing and you're also like making academic papers. But you know, it's kind of interesting, I guess, because you're working towards your capstone project. So it's kind of fun getting to see that get started and how it progresses later on during the years. So DPT 790, not a crazy class, but you still have a few papers and I think a presentation to do during the semester. So not one that you can entirely slack off from either. And we made it through all the classes in your fall semester of your G1 year. So a lot of information, right? It's gonna be a tough semester, But the way I see it is, if you can make it through this one, you can probably make it through anything after that.
They didn't believe in us. God did.
My biggest advice, and this is totally from my personal experience, and you know, do with it what you will, but I think it works at least decently for my style. And that's, for me, I just go as hard as possible for the first half of the semester. And this works out for me because my motivation is always the highest at the beginning of the semester. And normally after midterms is where my motivation just like, it tanks, absolutely tanks, nowhere to be found. And it's happened every single semester so far, so I think it's pretty consistent. But I do it this way because I feel like it's, I don't know, I think for a lot of classes, material tends to be maybe a little easier in the first half of the semester. That's not always the case, but I know for sure for some of these classes I just talked about, that definitely is the case. So you can really help yourself pump up your grades and create a little buffer for your grade, so that the last half of the semester, you know, if your grade kind of goes down a little bit or gradually, at least you have a little bit of cushion from just trying hard in the beginning of the semester. So that works out for me. Might not be the same for everybody, but at least for me, I get myself to a good place in my grades for the first couple months, and then after that I'm kind of just cruising through and trying to maintain as best as I can, right? And hopefully this video will help someone out there. This is a hard semester, so hopefully now you know a little bit of what to expect from it. And if you enjoy this type of content, or you're interested in applying to UNLV's PT program, I'd greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.